What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ow, that kind of hurt. Look at this beautiful, beautiful rifle. Look at this beast of a rifle. My buddy Max let me borrow this rifle, and it is extremely nice. We're not talking about the rifle, though, today. We're talking about the optic. It is the Nightforce ATACR 1-8, and it is the F1 is the model of it. But thank you to my man Max for letting me borrow all this and reviewing it and showing it to you boys and girls. Let's get right into it without any nonsense. No nonsense on this channel. The diopter is pretty unique. If you don't know what a diopter is, it's going to focus the reticle for your eyesight. That's all. Typically, most low power variable optics have a dial on the back that you can spin around. This one here, the magnification ring is the entire rear of the scope, rear of the optic. So you can manhandle this whole back end of the scope for the magnification ring. More on that in just a second. The diopter is a separate ring here that you have to unscrew, so to speak, and then when you turn the back of the low power variable optic, that will adjust the diopter. That's why on these Nightforces you see a lot of people wrap the back of the Nightforce. One, it's just a little easier to grab it if you're adjusting the magnification ring, and it also helps lock the diopter in place so the diopter doesn't come loose. A little different, works well. The only disadvantage to this, it's a little, for some reason, if you're switching rifles to different people, which I don't think is very practical, it's not as easy to adjust the diopter if you put the wrap on. But this is Max's rifle, and that doesn't matter. Anyway, eye relief, eye box, and glass clarity. Three of the more important things with a low power variable optic. And being this is a higher end optic, we have some high end expectations. The eye relief is 3.7 inches, which is pretty good for a high end 1-8 scope. And I will say that rating is accurate. Using it, playing with the rifle, that seemed to be an accurate and respectable number. The eye box is good. I've seen some other 1-8s that are a little better, but it's very, very good eye box. So eye relief is how far you can get away from the scope. Eye box, up, down, left, right. When do you start seeing shadow, scope shadow, and stuff like that? So I will say the eye box is good, and the eye relief is very good. Now the glass clarity, I'm hesitant to use the word great, but it is really, really good. It is exactly what I would expect on a high-end, low-power variable optic. When you look through it, there's very few scopes that I've seen that have better glass clarity than this. There are some, but in the price range, it has very, very good glass clarity, very low distortion. Around the edges, looks great. I'm not great at capturing inside a low power variable optic to show you guys, so you're kind of gonna have to trust me on this one, but the glass clarity is excellent. Now the magnification ring, again, is a little unique. You can just use the included speed lever like a traditional low power variable optic, but it's very, very stiff if you do so. If you're trying to adjust this just with the speed lever or just with the magnification ring, it is a little bit more stiff than I think it needs to be and that I would like to see. Again, the whole rear of the scope can be grabbed and adjusted, and if you grab it the right way, you can turn it all the way from 1-8 in one twisting motion if you just want to manhandle it and kind of spin it around. The other thing to keep in mind, being the entire rear of the scope turns, if you are the type of person who likes to leave lens caps on your gun, as you turn that magnification ring, your lens cap's going to spin around with it, may get in the way, may bump, may break. I say you don't even put it on there, but you know, I just like to point out these things to you. All right, before we get into the reticle and the first focal plane and all that good stuff, I want to quickly thank the sponsor of the video, which is Blackout Coffee. If I talk about it, I gotta drink it. They make great hot chocolate, tea, and coffee, ground and K-cups. If you try it, you're gonna become addicted. It's really, really tasty. There's a link and a coupon code down below. Click it, try it. It's yummy. That is cinnamon French toast. You can make fun of me for it. I don't care. Blackout Coffee is great. All right, this, like I said, is a this is a first focal plane optic, and I prefer first focal planes. You do you. I prefer first. So what that means is as you go from the magnification range from 1 all the way to 8, the size of the reticle is going to get bigger and smaller. It's smaller at one time, and then it gets bigger as you go to 8. The advantage is all of the holdovers we're going to talk about in the reticle will work on any magnification. So whether you're at 2 or 4 or 5 or 6, doesn't matter. Your holdovers are still going to be accurate and they're still going to work. And also at one time, because this reticle is so bright that we'll talk about when we get to the illumination, at one time this thing really looks like a red dot. It's right up there with the Vortex Razor And it's very, very much red dot-esque. It doesn't have quite as good as an eye relief. No low power variable optic does have as good an eye relief as a red dot, but at one time it's very, very fast like a red dot would be. All right, so it's a MRAD reticle, which I prefer. I like MRADs. Are very easy, they're very precise, and I have learned to love them. One MRAD is equal to 3.6 inches at 100 yards, and this reticle is very, very useful. It has a ton of holdovers. So on your windage side, you have a total of 10 MRAD holdovers. And if you look further out on these really thick stadia lines here, you have a total of 15 MRAD holdovers. So the range is huge, and your elevation is going to be the same. You have 10 holdovers, MRAD, and then if you look further down below at the stadia lines again, you have 15 and then down to 20 holdovers. So your holdovers are huge, probably more than 5.56 can shoot out and still be effective. But either way, it's a very, very useful reticle. I'm going to encourage you to check out the Nightforce website or manual. It lists out every single little detail, like in between each line from 1 to 10 is 1 MRAD. There is so much usefulness in the reticle, and they break down every single size and dimension is what I'm trying to say. So if you read the reticle, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. There's a ton of details and a ton of holdovers you can do there. Another thing I like, they actually have hold unders. So if you sight this thing at 50 yards, for example, and you're shooting really, really close, there's 2 dots above the illuminated red dot that will help you shoot close up to give you a point of reference to shoot, to hold under. And I thought that was pretty cool. But by far my favorite feature is at one time, it is very, very much like a red dot, and I really like that. All right, illumination. Let's get right into illumination because we're talking about it. Now that dot in the center is very, very small and precise. It's 2 MRAD or 0.7 MOA. The half circle around it is 4 MOA, and that's what illuminates. Standard 2032 battery like most low power variable optics. It is daylight bright. This is one of the few low power variable optics I'm comfortable saying that it's daylight bright. It is a very, very bright optic. The controls I dig. The controls go from 1 to 10. They have 2 night vision settings. We'll talk about that in a second. But the actual brightness settings go from 1 to 10, and in between each setting is an off setting, which I love. I think every optic, every scope should have that. Now, the night vision settings on a low power variable optic seem strange to me, and I don't quite get it. If I'm missing something, or I don't understand something, or there's a use for this that I'm not thinking of, please let me know. But low power variable optics don't have as good as an eye relief as a red dot. So you got to get much closer. And with a set of nods on, how are you going to get behind this scope and see with it way out there? And you're not going to be able to shoulder it because you're going to have to hold it so far out. And scopes are usually so down and low on the rail, it's going to be hard to get down there as well. Now I know some companies like Reptilla make a 1.93 inch mount, which will help get that low power variable optic a little higher, but even then, I can't imagine using a low power variable optic to passively aim through night vision. It's strange, it doesn't make sense to me. So I don't understand it, but if I'm missing something, I'm always open-minded. Please just let me know and we can talk about it. All right, windage and elevation adjustments. Moving on, getting off my soapbox, are capped. They are very, very smooth. They are very nice. Each click is a 1 mil adjustment, and again, 1 MRAD adjustment, and 1 MRAD is 3.6 inches. These adjustments are 0.1 MRAD. Wow, I can't speak. I need more coffee, but I think you get what I'm saying. They are resettable back to 0. There's 2 screws in here. You back those screws out, and then once you 0 your optic, you can reset it back to 0. So if you are dialing on the fly, you know where your original 0 is. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a lot of word zeros in there, but they are resettable, which is always good. They are very tactile. They're very audible. They are extremely solid. Like what I worry about with some budget-friendly scopes is that there's windage and elevation creep, and as you're shooting, that little bit of creep, does that affect your accuracy? I think it does a little bit. Never been able to prove that, but I think it does. And this is a very, very solid, and I'm messing with Max's windage and elevation, but it is a very, very solid windage and elevation adjustments, as you would expect for a scope that cost almost $3,000. All right, you look at the dimensions, the weight, the price. While you do that, I want to talk about the tube size. It's a 34 millimeter tube, so it's a little bit bigger and a little bit chunkier than some of the other ones out there. 30 millimeter are the most common. With that said, this should let in more light. There should be some advantages to a bigger tube, and there's so many good quality scope mounts out there for 34 millimeter tubes that it's not really that big of a deal anymore. Years ago it was. This is a Badger mount, and Badger and Reptilla make my two favorite mounts. They are my two favorite. There's other good ones out there, but those are my two favorite. All right, 10.1 inches. It's a very short scope. Part of the reason I think it can be so short is because it's a 34 millimeter tube. Everything in balance. Weight, it's a little heavy at 21 ounces. I think that's going to play to the durability. Nightforce typically are rock solid durable optics. Price $2,800. This is not for the poors. This is a high-end optic. Really, really nice one. It's worth the money. It's very nice, but it's not cheap. Black or FDE. And the one thing that stood out the most to me, and I was slightly disappointed, is going to be the field of view. The field of view at 1 time is 96 feet. At 8 time, it's 12 feet. And comparing that to other 1-8s, especially other premium 1-8s, that's not great. That's one of the few things I don't like about this optic. Or I shouldn't say I don't like. That I don't like. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Testing. I have a few hundred rounds through this rifle so far. So good. No issues. It is a very nice optic, and it's a very, very nice rifle. It's one of those things, once I start shooting, I shoot a lot more than I intended to, because once I start shooting nice things and nice guns, it's hard for me to put them down. With any low power variable optic, I always start with 1-ups. Low ready, high ready, 1-ups. At different magnification. This is how I like to test the eye box, the eye relief, the reticle, the illumination dial, all that stuff. Start up with 1-ups, low readies, high readies, and then go into multiple shots, transitions, and the same idea. Every drill I do when I test a low power variable optic, I do at different magnification. So if we're at the range doing a drill, I'll run the same drill 2, 3, 4 times, and I will adjust the magnification ring in between every time I run the drill. And I think that's the best way I've found to test eye box, eye relief, illumination, holdovers, all that good stuff. Just playing around with that illumination dial is one of the best ways. So a couple hundred rounds, normal plinking, running and gunning, you get the point. You can look at the B-roll footage I've been running in. Excuse me, I've been rolling in throughout the video. And if you want to see the type of drills I'm shooting, but I don't think anybody really cares. Pros, nice glass, really, really clear glass. Not the best glass I've ever seen, but right up there. Really, really nice. I think my favorite feature overall is going to be the reticle. It has a very, very useful reticle. All the windage, all the elevation. I like that it's MRAD. I can go on and on about the reticle, but the reticle is probably my favorite thing. At 1 time, this reticle looks a lot like a red dot. It's very, very fast, very, very quick. If you spend a little bit of time getting used to the eye box and eye relief on it, it can be almost as quick as a red dot. That's probably my favorite feature. It's made in the States. It has a lifetime warranty. The windage and elevation adjustments are good. I like the offsetting in between the brightness. It's worth every single dollar of the $2,800, which is not cheap. I get it. It's worth every single dollar. Cons. I think the magnification ring is a little too stiff. A couple of my buddies agreed. A couple of my buddies called me a wuss. I like how you can grab the entire back end of the optic to adjust the magnification. That's cool. I should have put that in a Pro. But overall, it's a little too stiff for my girly hands. Field of view is not great. I don't love the field of view, and I don't understand the night vision settings. It's not a con at all. I just don't get it. So if I'm missing something, again, please, somebody let me know. Educate me. Why does a low power variable optic have night vision settings? Help a brother out. Overall, it's a solid optic. If you're looking at a premium optic, something $2,000 or $3,000-esque, this should absolutely be on the list, because I do think it's worth the money. I will do a video comparing it to the Collis K18, because that is my optic. It's right over there on the wall, if you're wondering. That is my optic. I have a lot of time behind that. I know that one's second focal plane, and this is first focal plane, front focal plane, whatever you want to call it. But they're similar price. They're 1-8. And these are the two optics I was debating which one to get when I got the Collis. So I think other people, just based on the price and the 1-8, may wonder which one to get. So we're going to compare them. All right, let me thank my homie Max for... Oh, I messed that up. I want to thank the sponsor, Blackout Coffee, because I grabbed my coffee cup. Coffee, tea, hot chocolate, it's delicious. Discount code below. I want to thank my buddy Max for loaning me this rifle and this beautiful scope on it for the review. Max is a good dude. Thank you to my homie Max, and he has all the Gucci stuff like this Wilcox Raid X. Affiliate links. I put some links down there. Hopefully I can find one of these first in stock for you because it's still hard to get. Second, maybe I can get you a good deal. Who knows? If you want to pick one up, check the links. Help me out. Blah, 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 blah. Swag. If you want to support the channel, this is the best way to do so. We have short sleeve shirts. We have long sleeve shirts. We have patches. The link is down below if you want to support the channel. I appreciate it. Now, as far as social media, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to know what I'm reviewing right now in real time before the review comes out on YouTube, links to Facebook and Instagram are below. I also have a second YouTube channel dedicated to YouTube Shorts, 15 to 60-second videos. Link is down below as well if you want to hook me up. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it. Most important, like, comment, subscribe, enable the bell notification. If you do any of those things, they help me out. Truly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace!